It is my privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, honors, and dignities pertaining thereto.
And do permit me to salute your great university.
Miles Lehrman. Miles Lehrman, survivor of the Nazi terror and resistance fighter in the forests of Poland, you came to America with a passionate mission to teach the world never to forget the horrors of the Holocaust. You have worked tirelessly to raise funds for the Jewish homeland, receiving the Israeli Prime Minister's Medal of Achievement efforts. As a presidential envoy, your leadership in the historic negotiations with the former Soviet Union and Eastern European nations made possible unprecedented access to sealed archives and helped secure one of the largest single collections of Nazi artifacts. In 1993, you received from the President of the Republic of Poland the Commander's Cross, the highest award for a non-citizen of that nation. Your message of remembrance, framed through your personal experience of the European disaster, is heard by throngs of visitors to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, who will never forget. Brandeis honors you as a messenger of peace and a soldier in the war against all forms of hatred and intolerance.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to deviate from the script for 1 second. As many of you know, 1.5 million Jewish children lost their lives during the Holocaust. Miles Lehrman, in a moving address last night to a group of us, talked about them, and he has asked me to tell all of you that he is receiving the degree today on behalf of 1.5 million children who couldn't be here today. And I'm now going to confer the degree. Miles Lehrman, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Brandeis University, it is my privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, honors, and dignities pertaining thereto.
Thank you very much. This is a great honor, and it's a symbolic honor. The memories that we are trying to preserve in the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum of those dreadful years and of those dreadful moments in history are not only applicable to that period. What is most important, these memories must be applicable to you, to me, to today, and to here and to those that will follow us. Thank you very much.
Connor Cruz O'Brien. Connor Cruz O'Brien, distinguished scholar, diplomat, tician, historian, playwright, and man of letters. Your varied careers in government, academe, and journalism have coincided with your rise to prominence as the most important Irish nonfiction writer of the 20th century. You have written brilliantly and incisively on subjects ranging from Biafra, Israel, the Congo, Southern Africa, and Northern Ireland, to French literature, nationalism, religion, and your native Dublin and its politics. Ever willing to take creative risks, as evidenced in such impressive works as To Katanga and Back and The States of Ireland, acclaimed the most influential work of Irish historical writing since Ireland's independence, your monumental biography of Edmund Burke has been called a book by the greatest living Irishman on the greatest Irishman who ever lived. Luminous, as well as humorous, your unique voice combines the erudition of your scholarship with the passion of your spirit, a merger for which Brandeis bestows upon you its highest honor.
Connor Cruz O'Brien, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Brandeis University, it is my privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, honors, and dignities pertaining thereto.
My friends, I am profoundly moved by the great honor your great university has just done me, and for the tradition this university honors me with here. I am profoundly sensitive to the meaning of all that, and I know that my children and my grandchildren are now grown up, will also cherish this honor and know what it means. Thank you very much.
Louis Perlmutter. Louis Perlmutter, respected international investment banker, economic advisor, civic and communal leader, and first Brandeis graduate to serve as chairman of the university's Board of Trustees. As one of the financial world's leading merger and acquisition specialists, you advise some of the largest and most respected multinational corporations, working closely also with the World Bank, the State Department, private investors, the Palestinian National Authority, and various Middle Eastern governments on economic development. As chairman of the American Jewish Congress and as a trustee of the Phoenix House Foundation, you provided leadership at a crucial period in the history of those organizations. A member of the Brandeis Board of Trustees for 11 years and chairman since 1989, you have given loyalty, devotion, and dedicated service to your alma mater. In appreciation, Brandeis bestows upon you its highest honor.
Louis Perlmutter, by the vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Brandeis University, it is my privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, honors, and dignities pertaining thereto.
Daniel L. Shore. Daniel Shore, accomplished print and broadcast journalist, respected foreign correspondent, insightful political commentator, and three-time Emmy Award winner, you have championed the truth and made a career of puncturing pretense. For more than 30 years, your bold and forthright reports from Washington and around the world have earned you the admiration of peers and the appreciation of millions of your fellow Americans informed by your commentary and analysis. For your tireless pursuit of truth, your unswerving commitment to substance over appearance, your steadfast devotion to the public's right to know, even at personal cost to yourself, and your cogent examination of critical issues that affect America from national security and foreign affairs, poverty, environmental pollution, education, and health care, Brandeis salutes you.
Daniel L. Shore, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Brandeis University, it is my privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, honors, and dignities pertaining thereto.
Stay tuned.
Barbara Streisand. Barbara Streisand, from Annie Bryce's first "Hello, Gorgeous," you won our hearts, holding us in your spell through a generation of unforgettable characters. Actress, singer, director, writer, and producer, you have paved your career with bold and creative achievements, earning the affection of your fans and the acclaim of your peers with Tonys, Grammys, Emmys, and Oscars. Your groundbreaking triumphs as director, producer, and composer have opened new opportunities for women in film and music. Reminding us that talent and the human spirit are unbounded. You have encouraged artists to speak out in defense of the arts and to raise their voices on issues of importance to our nation. A celebrity with a conscience, you have let the light of your own stardom illuminate critical political, social, and environmental problems, giving generously to causes close to your heart. With a talent larger than life and a voice that reaches the ends, you are known to the world as Barbara. Brandeis salutes your accomplishments and takes pride in bestowing upon you its highest honor.
Barbara Streisand, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Brandeis University, it is my privilege to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, honors, and dignities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
I didn't think I would say anything today because I spoke last night, but I do want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for this wonderful show of support. And I'd just like to say that this honorary degree means so much to me because my father was a teacher, and he died when I was very young, but I'd just like to say that I'm very proud to be affiliated with this prestigious international university, and I know my father would be proud too. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Daniel L. Shore will respond on behalf of the honorary degree recipients.
Boy, that is the last time that I will ever walk into a place just ahead of Barbara Streisand. Maybe if I went to yeshiva, I would be famous too. Well, I've been asked to respond on behalf of 6 people, all of whom would give different responses and respond much better for themselves than I could, and it would be a kind of chutzpah for me to speak for. Just imagine speaking for a media lord like Walter Annenberg and an anti-media lady like Barbara Streisand. I have been asked to impart to you the wisdom that I have gained in more than 60 years in journalism. I suspect that was a way of asking me to keep the speech very short. As I look out over this crowd of young people, you know, and realize what sense of age separates us, I try to find some way to bridge those years by thinking about what is commonplace today and which we didn't have in 1939 when I graduated from City College in New York. We didn't have ballpoint pens. We didn't have nylon. We didn't have frozen food. In those days, pot was something you cooked in. And Coke was something you drank. And grass was something you mowed. In those days, also, hardware was hammer and wrenches, and software wasn't in the dictionary in 1939. In those days also, we're not blessed with the atomic bomb, nor with that other bane of our existence, television. I can remember the birth of television. In 1939, I went to the New York World's Fair, where RCA demonstrated what looked like a toy, where you stood in front of a camera and your girlfriend standing 100 feet away could see you on a monitor. And nobody in 1939 thought that television would amount more than an interesting toy to be enjoyed by a few people. And little do we know, I think today our lives Our society, what we are, has been in many ways transformed by what television is. Television has made everybody a little less sure of what reality is. The theme of this celebration today is reality. And that strikes a deep chord with me because I have watched in my years in television, in and out of television, back, I have watched what television does to make violence so commonplace that kids will kill other kids and not be aware that they're doing anything. They expect the other kids to stand up at the end of the last commercial because there's a certain thing about violence after you've been drenched with it on television that makes it not real. And we lose reality even in things that are called news programs. I've seen, for example, on ABC when they wanted to illustrate a scoop they had about an American diplomat being arrested on suspicion of espionage and not having the pictures of it, they put on pictures of this minister in Vienna turning over a briefcase, presumably full of secrets, to a Russian spy. And I thought it was pretty terrific when I saw it, because it looked like some CIA surveillance film. It wasn't. It was done by ABC employees. Or NBC, when it decides to illustrate to you what's wrong with GM trucks, which have gas tanks on their sides, illustrates it by putting an explosive in so the thing will blow up on camera. Nobody aware anymore that the semblance of things is not the same as things, and that fantasy as if is not the same as reality. So I watch, having had a young life before television, now look out at people who have never known without television, and I wonder about them. Now, let me tell you, I don't usually like to read anything in the way of a speech, but I became a victim of the public information people here at Brandeis. They insisted that I give them something that they could distribute in advance to the press who would be clamoring to know what I was going to say. And since I got to be honest about this, I've got to read what I said, lest it all be a lie. So let me say this, and then I'll say a couple of others. In the twilight of a journalistic career stretching over 60 years, there comes a moment now of profound disillusionment. The premise for all my work has been that better communications would lead to better understanding. I accepted without question the slogan, "Give light and the people will find their own way." It hasn't worked out that way. The communications revolution has provided faster and better means to spread confusion and to spread misunderstanding and often spread incitement. And now, in this age of CNN and internet, can people believe that the government is not out to enslave them to the United Nations? How can they believe that civil servants are part of some vast conspiracy against them? Oklahoma City, to me, stands as a monument to the failed vision that communications would automatically bring enlightenment. And I, for one, having worked in all the news media there are, newspapers, radio, and television, want to say that if all we've been able to do is to promote violence on television and to hook the nation on O.J. Simpson trials and lead angry people to the brink of revolution, and somewhere I think we have failed you. So to you young people about to go out into the world and face the challenge of discerning reality from fantasy, bureaucracy from conspiracy, advocacy from armed revolution, to you people, my first temptation is to say, don't go. But you don't get to stay around here, another class pressing upon you, and they got to be here. But that's a joke. What I want to say is that you have your work cut out for you. Your mission is to do what my generation did not succeed in doing, is to tame technology to peaceful purposes, to do better than the communicators of my generation did at restoring civil discourse, and then to bring this nation at last, once again, together, and lots of luck trying to do that, because it's not going to be easy. Now comes a part which didn't write and thought of only now sitting here, and especially because the citation mentioned something about my having taken a risk and being willing to face unpopularity, and once almost to lose my job, and once almost even to go to jail. I shall have to tell you a personal part of my life that goes back to 1976, when I found myself in the course of covering congressional investigations of the CIA. I found that the House committee that had investigated the CIA had drawn up a draft report that the administration didn't like. I got a copy of that report, and then the House of Representatives voted to suppress that report. And to me, as a journalist, that meant only one thing, that if I have a report which a committee has adopted and tells a lot of very important things about what has happened in the CIA, and the House of Representatives is maneuvered by Henry Kissinger and the Ford administration into suppressing it, then it is my duty, if I have the only copy in the free world, to see that it is published. And I did. And the CIA denounced me, and Henry Kissinger denounced me. I can stand that. But worst of all, CBS, where I worked, not liking to get caught in the center between a row with Congress, which was just about to consider licensing cable, suspended me. And then after that, the House Ethics Committee decided it had to find out who had leaked the report and called me to testify and asked me what I thought they would ask me: where did I get it? And I told them I couldn't tell them. I simply couldn't tell them. Chairman of the committee read me the act on contempt of. If you persist in your contempt, you will make yourself open to a contempt citation by Congress, prison sentence up to 2 years, a fine up to $200,000. And I said I couldn't tell them. And let me tell you, I was scared. You know, it sounds interesting to go to jail when you talk about it in the abstract. It is not interesting when you face it as a concrete possibility. And in the end, the Ethics Committee voted 6-5 not to cite me for contempt. Decided that there was nothing much to be gained by a committee picking on one reporter who already had been deserted by his own bosses, and that was not going to be very good politically. I've always remembered that of all the episodes I've had in my life, I always remember that, because I wondered why it was that doing something which was dangerous, but for principle, dangerous and nonviolent, and for principle, made me forever after that feel so good. I want to tell you, I don't have illusions, you know. There are a lot of things one normally says to graduates, and a lot of these things don't mean very much. They are, you know, go out and do good. I have here a letter from the grandmother of one of you. I will, for the sake of this, I never reveal sources, so saying, would you please exhort these young people to get involved? It is simply that the times are beginning to look scary, and anyone with memories of the last 40 should be scared. The students should be told that they may be threatened, but to stand up and be counted. Thank you, and that's the grandmother of a student. What I want to say to you is that you're going out into a world where there's a great deal of premium placed on conformity. You can work your way up in a law firm, in a doctor's office. You can work your way up by conforming. and just doing what you're told and don't take any chances. And most of the time, you will have to do that. You may have families to support, and you can't always just go off being a freebooter. Once in a while, you will be faced with a decision where if you stick up for principles that you believe in, you will be taking a great risk of losing a job or losing more. What I say to you is that at least once, maybe twice, in the career that lies ahead of you, take a chance for your principle. Thank you.
Ladies and